Welcome to Creating Art. Today I'm going to share with you how I paint redwood trees. Alright, to begin with, I have my watercolor paper taped down with a blue painter's tape that's on the border. And I'm going to start with the background that's I'm using indigo blue, and it's going to be a fade, so from darker to lighter, and it's going to be pretty light to begin with. So I am going to go ahead and put some water down on my page. But not all the way to the top, because I do want the water to be, the color to be darker. So as I hold it up here, I'm getting my paint ready. I'm just going to go across to the edges, coming down. And when you are painting you always want to come back to where your line kind of began. And you can tell where I touched the paper because there is. You can see the finger marks. That's what your hand does. It creates that grease, and that's actually just fine with me. And so I might want to come back in. When you do a fade like this, you don't want to mess with it too much. So I'm just going to kind of do that and let it fall down. All right, so we're going to let that dry, and then I am going to show you how to finish it off. I know it kind of, don't mess with it too much, so I'm just going to let it go. Now that I have my background and it's all dry and it's fairly faint, that's what I wanted. I did forget to tell you that I did draw 3 lines in the back, and so these are going to be for my 3 redwood trees I'm going to draw. And when I draw my lines out, I don't know if I can bring that up and show you a little bit better, but I have breaks in them. I have like a couple of breaks where my lines are not complete, and that helps me to know where I want to put in a bunch of greenery. So as I begin, I'm going to start off with my trunk, and I'm not painting the breaks in that. And I'm going to start off with a lighter color because I'm trying to use 3 different ones to create my trunk. And it's going to be fairly just straight to begin with. And I'll come back and make it wider at the bottom. And as trees go up, they do get a little bit thinner. And you may not, it doesn't have to be perfectly straight. All right, and I'm going to bring this out. So now I'm going to go in and add more of my red color. And this is more wet on wet, so I'm going to let it bleed. Just kind of bring this in, have fun with it, let the colors flow. And after it dries, I will go back and add some darker value to my trunks. So, and then I also like to come in and do just a few little branches coming off that you could possibly see. And remember, redwood trees do not have a lot of branches down at the bottom, they're more at the top. So I'm just going to do 3 right there. All right, now I'm actually switching out my painting because my goal is to make this a pretty quick little study for you to look at. And here I've already done 2 in my sketchbook, and here you can see the value I've brought in, the darker value of my trees. So now I'm going to start, and I'm using 3 colors in my redwood tree. I'm using a little bit of yellow, and I'm not doing much yellow, but I'm bringing some in just to have it for blending purposes. Just a little bit, because most of it will disappear. You can see some of it right here, but it's not a lot, so I don't really worry about it too much. And maybe some at the end. Now I'm bringing in my sap green, one of my favorite colors. I don't know why it makes me so happy, but it does. And so redwood trees, remember, they kind of feather out, and remember, I've said this before, it's all about suggestion. So don't get caught up that it has to look exactly, you know, an exact representation. So I'm trying to come in and leave some spaces. All trees have some natural spaces in it, and that's pretty watery up there. And as I come in, I can see my space here, so I know that's just going to be pretty much solid. And it's just a big clump of trees. So here we go. of the leaves, and you can see that I'm just being quick and loose. And I'm trying to, when I come in with my green, I am trying to leave the yellow more on top, and it's okay to just let it meld in. And not all of the stems have to like connect. It actually makes it more fun and more lively. So here we go. Feather down, feather up. And so you want it to kind of spread out like that. Alright, now that it's pretty loose, I'm going to come in and kind of redefine some of these a little bit. And then I'm going to go back in and add some darker green. And I use this Pearline green, I think is the name of it. It's pretty dark. And if you wanted to really be super creative, you could, mix your blues and yellows to create and have it mix on your paper as a watercolor. But I'm just coming in, and then I'm going to switch sizes of brushes, and I'm going to create some, especially underneath the branches. That's where you'll find the darker parts. And adding some different value. So now that this is dry, I might want to come in and even add, I don't feel like that's really dark enough, so I might want to come in and just add some more darkness down here. So, because remember, dark creates the depth, and that's kind of what you're looking for, is the illusion of, yes, this tree has depth to it. So once it's dry, you can always go back and add to it, add sections that make it look a little bit more like, yes, it's got depth in it. It doesn't have to be done when it's all wet. Alright, so now I have my tree, and then I already have my background that's kind of already done, and then I went in, and with the side of my brush, I love doing this. I just take, I'm going to add a little bit more green, and I'm also going to bring in some more blue. I just like to use the side of my brush and kind of create some, ground here. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then, a little bit of leaves, bringing in some of that darker blue so you can kind of bring that in. And you can also do squiggly marks for grass. So this is a quick down and dirty how you get a redwood tree done. Redwood, I can say it. Alright, thank you. Alright, so let me take off my blue painter tape, and I will show you what the finished product looks like after creating a border. I like the effect because it's nice when you can frame it, and it just makes it look a little bit more professional. And I never leave my painter's tape on for very long, and it really depends on the quality of your paper, but sometimes it can, if you have cheap paper, it will stick. So you can definitely see now, you can see that I did have, even at the beginning, I know it was kind of hard to see my wash, but that's this one compared to that one. So, either look I kind of like. Alright, have fun painting your redwood trees, and if you like this video, please click like.